Hello everyone, welcome to Key to IGCSE. Today our topic is simplifying expressions, and let's take a look at practice 4. Simplify as far as possible. Well, before we talk about these practices, we want to know something in general, okay? So let's see. The parts of an algebraic expression are called terms, which are separated from each other by addition or subtraction signs. For example, when we see a plus b, so a and b are separated by an addition sign, right? So we have how many terms? Of course, 2 terms. And then when we see 2 plus 3a over b minus ab over c, think about it. How many terms are there? Of course, there are 3, because they are separated by an addition sign and a subtraction sign. Alright, so this is how we define terms. And then let's take a look at this. The number in a term is called a coefficient. For example, if you see a term like negative 3ab, think about it. What is the coefficient? It's not 3, but negative 3. Okay? Alright, this is how we define coefficient. And then we have to know that a term with only numbers is called a constant. For example, if you see an expression 2a plus 4, which one is the constant? Of course, the 4. Okay? Alright, let's move on to the next. Something you have to bear in mind is that terms are not separated by multiplication or division signs. Okay? So the parts of a fraction are all counted as one term, even if there's a addition sign or subtraction sign in the numerator or denominator. For example, if you see a plus b over c, think about it. How many terms are there? Alright, as we just learned about it, there is only one term, even if we have an addition sign in the numerator. Okay? Very good. So let's move on to the solution. Number A, we see expression as 8y minus 4 minus 6y minus 4. Well, terms with exactly the same variables are called like terms. For example, in these 4 terms, which 2 have the same variable? Of course, 8y and minus 6y, right? They both have y as the only variable here. And then let's try adding and subtracting them, okay? These 2 like terms to simplify algebraic expressions. And this is known as collecting like terms, which will be very often used in the future, okay? So basically we can do something like this. 8y minus 6y. We're using subtraction to simplify them, okay? And then we combine the constants, okay? So minus bracket 4 plus 4. And finally, we have the final answer, 2y minus 8. This is what after simplification, okay? Very good. And then let's take a look at another one. The expression reads x squared minus 4x plus 3x squared minus x. Well, we have to know that the variables and any indices attached to them have to be identical for terms to be like terms. For example, x squared, okay, and plus 3x squared are like terms because both of them has 2 as the index, okay? So we have to combine these 2. But for the other 2 terms, minus 4x and minus x, they both have the power of only 1, okay? So these 2 are like terms. So basically, what should we do? Of course, we collecting 2 of them and collecting another 2, okay? And put them in a bracket. After calculation, we can have 4x squared minus 5x. And this is the simplified version, okay? Very good. And finally, let's take a look at number H. It reads 5xy minus 4 plus 3yx minus 6. Well, you may have noticed that we have xy and the yx. So how can we deal with this? Of course, you have learned about some properties of multiplication, right? Such as commutative, okay? So by using commutative property, we know that variables in different order mean the same thing because x times y is exactly the same as y times x. You can basically switch the factors, okay? Very good. So now we can have these two as like terms and we collect them, okay? So we'll be having 8xy minus 10 as the final result. All right. So for all the other questions, please think about by yourself, okay? And I believe that you can try to solve them, okay? All right, if you have any question, just ask me. All right, see you next time. Bye-bye.